West Virginia mountain melody. There's a new river singing to me. Oh, this time it's wild and free, your West Virginia mountain melodies.
Welcome to another podcast interview at the Clarksburg History Museum. And I welcome today Mr. Bill Ofield, who is going to give us the history of the Clarksburg Public Library. Bill, welcome, and so great to have you join us today.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Today we're going to find out how an Oscar-winning film in 2025 at the Academy Awards has a connection with our library here in Clarksburg, and that's a teaser. But first, Bill, tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you were born and who your parents were.
Well, actually, I was born right here in Clarksburg, West Virginia, in 1952. My parents were my mother, Dolores Jean Caldwell, and my father was William Roy Ofield, and I'm Junior, William Ofield Jr. And I grew up in Hepzibah, and I graduated from Victory High School in 1970. So this is my hometown, I always say. Even though I was in Hepzibah, Clarksburg was still my hometown. And just happy to be here to share this with you about the library that was so much a part of my life, and my brothers as well. I'm the oldest of four boys.
Oh, okay.
So we use the Clarksburg Public Library a lot.
So as a child, you loved books.
Absolutely. Even then, loved books. Loved going to the Waldomore. It was our library back then. And I often tell the story that my mother, being the mother of four boys, she would take us to the library, and it'd be like a mother hen leading her four little chicks up to the library door along that long walkway to get into the Waldomore. But we loved that place.
Yeah, I'm old enough to vaguely remember the Waldomore, and I do remember the new library being built. Mm-hmm. But like your mother, my mother would come to town on Saturdays, get her hair done. It was an all-day ordeal.
Yes.
She'd drop us off at the library, and that's where we would spend our Saturdays, and I loved it.
Yes.
I even loved the smell of books.
Oh, yes, yes. And I had one of our seniors this morning tell me that her fondest memory of the Waldomore is going into the building, going up those steps to the children's room, which was red, white, and blue, she said. And that's a vivid memory that sticks out in her mind even now.
Those are great memories, and it's funny how you keep those memories, especially with books.
Yes,
you know?
Yes, true.
So let's talk about the library. It has a great history. And if you'll grant me just a few minutes, I want to read an article that I got from the Clarksburg Telegram newspaper dated back in 1903, June 26, 1903. It was a 2-column article. It was pretty good size, took up half the page. And the whole premise of it was why Clarksburg should have a library. And it was written by a lady. I'm not sure who wrote it, but I could tell it had a woman's hand in this. And the very last paragraph I just thought was really, really great. It said, "Ladies of Clarksburg, this story contains a deep object lesson. Start a library club. Wake up, do something for your children. We can't all afford libraries, and let's get together and establish a big one that we can all use. Start the ball rolling, and we will guarantee that the men will help you out. Try it." And I just thought that's pretty gutsy for 1903 for women to say, let's get this ball rolling and get a library because the men aren't doing anything here. So that got the ball rolling. And I guess in 1907, there was an article in the Daily Telegram that the library will be open to the public. At a meeting of the executive committee of the Women's Civic Club held at the Waldo late Wednesday afternoon, it was decided to open to the public the reading room and library in room 64 of the Jacobs Building, Main Street, on Wednesday, May the 1st. From 3 until 5 o'clock, the women of the club will extend cordial greetings to the general public, and light refreshments will be served. The room will also be open in the evening of the same day. While a start towards a public library is being made in a very small way, it is a start in the right direction, and from which great things are expected to be to be is expected by the promoters. They misspelled something there, but they had great plans for this library in Clarksburg. So that's kind of the start, and you're going to go from there, Bill. You kind of walk me down through history of the library.
Okay, that is a great place to start. And I say that our library here in Clarksburg-Harrison County, which at that time was called would be the Clarksburg Library. Harrison in the title didn't pick up till later. We'll talk about it a little bit. But I always say the system here was built on the shoulders of women. Women, and you just read it, we had none. You had a women advocating it, and you're right, it was in the Women's Civics Club at that time, and Julia Walker Ruhl, R-U-H-L, and the club are the ones who organized that first library. And the Jacobs building was the Jacobs department store located at 222 West Main Street. It was interesting that it was operated by volunteers, I'm finding here in the historical documents, and they had a subscription of $1 annually. Now, as you said earlier, that'd be a lot of money for that time.
That'd be a lot of money back in 1907.
Exactly. And that says until 1920, the library was only open on Tuesdays and Saturdays from 2 to 8:30. So those times changed from that initial article. But it's interesting how women did carry it through.
When they didn't even have the right to vote yet. They were speaking out.
I thought about that when you were reading that, yes. And then just going on in 1910, then the Women's Civic Club solicited donations from local businessmen to hire a librarian. And their first librarian was hired in 1910 until she retired in 1938.
That's quite a time to be there, isn't it? That's a long time.
That is a long time. And then, of course, it goes on, and it wasn't until then in 1920 that a proposal to support the library was put on the ballot, and voters approved a levy. And I thought this was interesting, a margin of 3-1. So that was a way then to support the library through tax dollars. So that didn't happen until 1920. So that was 13 years of plugging along, moving to different locations in Clarksburg with that librarian. Sally Scully Page was her name. So Miss Page, she was assisted in formulating the West Virginia Library Association and served as its president for 10 years. So she was active in her field of librarian. Then the library then in 2017 moved to the former Holmes residence. I remember hearing about this. I thought it was interesting that it'd be moved into somebody's home, but that's what the Waldomore was. It was somebody's home.
It was someone's home.
So we had these beautiful homes here in Clarksburg. They could actually facilitate a library. That's amazing to me. And then the library relocated and occupying a space in the Robinson Building at 113 South 2nd Street in 1919, until that brings us into 1920 when the levy was put on the ballot.
And the school systems, too, were getting better, too, so there was more of a need for a library with the books and everything.
Yes, and I did learn that something that was noticed, and this was Miss Curtin, who we'll talk about here a little later, who was instrumental in getting this current library building built. She was president of the board, but how she was part of the Red Cross that would notify families of a member of their family who had been killed in the war. And when she said she would go deliver that horrible message, that she would notice the only books would be found in the schools, and it wouldn't be many books at all. So that was part of what drove her to say, we need a better library system.
And we got it, didn't we?
And we got it. Yes, we did.
Yeah, I did not realize that it had moved so many different times. So when did it get to the Waldomore then?
The library moved into the Waldomore, of course, upon the death of Richard Lowndes. He passed away on July 23, 1930, and then his wife, May Goff Lowndes, followed her husband's death on August 3. So that on September 16, it was entered into probate, and then the city received the building in 1931. And architect Carlton Wood created plans for remodeling the building to make it into the library that so many of us grew up using, and conversion from private home to a public library then was completed in 8 weeks. So isn't that amazing? They did that within 8 weeks.
And what a beautiful building that is.
Beautiful building. And what I find interesting too is 1932 that the circulation of books reached its original peak, almost 90,000, an increase over 12,000 over the previous year. So folks really used that library within the first year. They really were excited about it. You can just tell from that circulation of the books. So I have always loved that library. I liked its beautiful antebellum mansion design.
Looks like something out of Gone with the Wind.
It sure does. Yes, even now. Yes, and it's just absolutely beautiful building. And another one of those senior anecdotal moments that's a memory was another one told me how they remember going into the building as a child, and there would be men sitting around a gas stove just chatting and talking. So it was also a place that folks came just to socialize and to be with one another and enjoy that beautiful building. And so they weren't there reading books, they were there warming up around the gas stove and chatting.
And that's how a library should be, very inviting.
Yes, I agree. So I thought that was interesting because that space, it means so much to so many of us. And of course it sets back from the street. It was designed to be that way with that long walkway and the beautiful lawn in front of the building. But that changed with the design of the new library. And of course it sits right up next to the sidewalk. And that was Marcel Breuer's request in the design of the building. She wanted it to be accessible. She was a librarian at the time when all this was being discussed of the new library, and she wanted it to be accessible to the public and to be visible. And so the design for that new building did do that, and that was a request.
So you're celebrating your 50th year of the so-called new library.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
How did that all come about?
Sure. It was in 1974 when Marcel Breuer, and she was behind this. She, by the way, she was hired in 1969 and became the library's first professional library director. She had a vision for a new library in the 1970s and garnered support of the library board and members of the community. She was a librarian who went out into the community. I've heard stories of her where she was so involved that actually I've learned that the West Virginia Italian Heritage Festival started with Marcel Breuer and using the library as the central place to begin organizing that festival.
She was such a fixture in this city.
A fixture. So she began raising money, generating support for the construction of a modern building. She wanted a modern building. And on that property next to the Waldomore was the Ritz Theater. It was known as the Ritz Theater property. And she decided that would be a good place for a new library. And so she went to the board of directors. The library board president got behind it with her, and then they moved forward and they purchased that property. She was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing woman.
Yeah.
I never got to meet her. I never knew her. And I've been told that she loved her work as librarian, loved Clarksburg, and she did a lot of things for the city, I understand. And there's a lovely portrait of her that hangs in the library's conference room. So I often look up when we're having these discussions and think, wow.
Yeah, she's kind of looking over everything
Exactly.
Still. That's a nice tribute to her.
And again, it was on the shoulders of the women, and here was Marcel Breuer leading the way.
It's great. That's just continued that on.
Continues that on.
So let's talk about how the Brutalist film, which won, I think, Best Actor. It was up for different things this past year here, but I think Best Actor. How does the Brutalist film connect with our Clarksburg Library?
Yes. And that was Adrian Brody,
yes.
one of my favorite actors.
Wonderful actor.
Yes, won that award. And I have to be honest, I've not seen the movie.
I haven't either, Bill, and I'm dying to see it.
I've
The
not
clips I've seen are just amazing.
Yes. The movie was not based on a book. It was a fictionalized script that was written by Brady Corbett and Mona Void. But it's a fictionalized account of a Hungarian artist who finds success after World War II. And he was part of that architectural, I would say the brutalist movement, which, if you look at the buildings, and I would say our man, Marcel Breuer, Breuer, is the architect.
And he was Hungarian born.
And he was Hungarian, and so was this character in the Brutalist, which I find interesting.
I think they based it mostly on our architect.
I'm getting that feeling. So our architect was born in Hungary in 1902, died in 1981 at the age of 79. Our architect is remembered as American modernist architect, designer. He designed the UNESCO building in Paris. That's the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization building. He designed the Whitney Museum in Manhattan, New York City. He's known as one of the few architects trained in the Bauhaus and was a leader in the Bauhaus movement, which was a period of artistic invention and questioning. Now, you think about our building's design, and I did bring along for you this rendition, his rendition of the building, and you see in this movement very sharp corners. You don't have any of that ornate antebellum look of the Waldomore next door. We have the glass windows that allows exposure to the outdoors.
And it makes it also inviting, I think, with all the windows.
It does. And some of the features, often it says that the Brutalist will use a ziggurat shape featuring a stepped concrete clad facade, and then they would take that, it'd be like, think of a pyramid with the steps going up, you turn it upside down. And it's true, some of the buildings I've noticed in the designs of the Brutalist do have that kind of look to it. Our building does not, but it does have those corners. We have two courtyards on either end of the building. You have the children's side and the adult side, where you have, it's outside of the windows there of the periodical selection. As you go into the building, the front entrance, you go through the sliding doors, and then it's a walkway that takes you into the building. That's a Brutalist design. So now that I look at the building, knowing more about the Brutalist design, I'm seeing all these features that were put in that design.
And it's not like any other building in downtown Clarksburg.
It's not.
Unique.
It is unique. And that was what the Library Board and Merle Moore wanted. It's referred to as a landmark structure, and it truly is. It's almost in a way monumental.
Yeah.
And you can see why he designed buildings even for Washington, D.C. HEW, Health, Education, and Welfare building in D.C. is a Breuer building. It's just amazing to see, now that I know what I know.
In our little city of Clarksburg, we get the world famous architect of the Brutalist movement.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
And I never really appreciated it till you brought that to my attention.
It's just amazing. And the library board president at that time, her name was Mary Curtin. She's quoted in the Sunday Exponent Telegram. I love newspapers. It's so much fun to go through microfiche and all that and find these articles. But in December 7, 1975, she said that she thought, with members of the board, that if the Ritz Theater, and that was that property I talked about, should be replaced with an equally interesting yet timeless structure, because they liked that building. They thought that theater was a good building. She said, "We have determined to have an architect whose fame preceded him, Their vision was just so grand. I'm fascinated by this. She said, we narrowed our choices to I.M. Pei, who designed this Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, and went on then and chose Breuer because of all the work he had done. Their vision was big.
Yes.
And that building at the time cost over $3.2 million, and that was a lot of money back then.
1974?
1974. And and they raised the money. They worked hard. You know, these days we think about raising money. Well, you know, think what it was like back then. But they used their, I always want to say, they used their friendships with people with money who knew that they wanted to make our city great. Now, I do have a picture of Mr. Breuer. His papers and all his documents, his renditions of this building and others are on the Syracuse University Library's website.
Oh, they have a digital library of his collection.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So you can go to see him, his picture, and these documents. And I have this letter here that came from one of his people. I'm sorry, this one is from the Clarksburg Library to Hamilton Smith, who was the architect who worked with Mr. Breuer. It was called Marcel Breuer and Associates. Hamilton Smith was key in this, and here you have a letter from what appears to be an attorney to the library. So it was just amazing, and to see these documents are just really fascinating to me.
And to know they're about Clarksburg.
About Clarksburg, yes. To think where
what did the public here think of this building?
They, as I understand, loved it. They turned out for the grand opening. The grand opening was it opened on December 1, but the grand opening was on December 9, and it was such a big deal that Governor Arch Moore came and gave brief remarks at the opening. And it was the year before that our First Lady, Shelley Riley Moore, came and turned the ground for the building to be built. So you can see it had that kind of support from the governor. It was just amazing.
So it took all of that to make this vision happen.
Yes, yes.
It's a beautiful building, still is after 50 years, isn't it?
It is. It's beautiful. And you know, the brutalist, I have to say, it's a tongue twister sometimes for me. They drew their inspiration from, or the brutalist movie drew its inspiration. Of course, we talk about from the brutalist architecture style, which was popular from the 50s to the 80s. Now, our building C was created in 1975, 50 years ago. But again, clean lines, blocky features, monochromatic palette. Notice it is all one color on the outside. And that brick that's on the outside with this style is carried into the inside. And you'll see that brick on that staircase as you go from the first floor to the second floor. There's that brick on the inside. It's in other places too, but there it really stands out to the public. And the furniture was Breuer furniture. I didn't realize he was so much behind
I didn't know that.
The block, butcher block tables that are there in the reading area. And those are still the same ones. I did a little tour looking for these things, and sure enough, they still have furniture from 50 years ago, purchased with that $3.2 million, is still being used today.
Oh my, I never knew that, Bill. That's neat.
Isn't that neat? The architecture features that, as we discussed, the large windows, brick, and then the courtyards. Those two courtyards for on the children's side and the adult side. Window walls, which I love. That second floor where they have the computers. I've even taken my laptop up there over the years, sat there and worked on my laptop, looking out through those windows at the Waldomore and looking out over the city. It's a beautiful spot. You can see.
And plus the sky too.
And the sky.
If it's a beautiful day, it's very calming.
You can, yes. And visible stacks. Always thought this was interesting about our library, but this was all part of the design. As you go down West Pike Street and past the library and you look over, what do you see in those large windows there on the first floor?
You see the books.
You see the books.
Yes.
And that was part of the design, that not only Merle Moore, she wanted it to be down on the level near the sidewalk where patrons can come in, library users can come in, but then the design was that you would see the stacks of books, and that's a brutalist design to actually have that happen.
So now I think just by talking about this, people can go and have a new retrospective of this building. I never really thought about all of this till we heard about the brutalist.
Exactly. I just found it so interesting that being on the Library Friends board, when we talked about this celebration and this word was put out, I was like, now what is that? What are you saying? And now that I've done a little research and looked at the building, step back and look at the building, it's amazing what was accomplished. That, and then the chairs that are still being used around the library that are, I want to say the birch wood. That's the same as the staircase going upstairs to the library. That's the original birch. He wanted and did design brown carpeting, warm brown carpeting, so it was written about. And yes, it had that brown carpeting, but of course you know how carpeting it gets worn, so it has been replaced with a blue weave type carpeting. Again, it's lovely, but now knowing what I know, in my mind I want to envision what Marcel Breuer had in mind.
That 70s was also the look of like the browns and the oranges and the very earthy tones like that.
And he did use those colors. That's a good point. Even in these, when you look at these photographs from these newspaper clippings, you see that furniture that is still being used to this day. And there's the butcher block chairs, that whole design, and that 70s striped. I have a feeling those cushions might have been replaced since then.
I love that 70s look, though, don't you?
Yes.
The avocado green and all of that, oranges, and I like that.
Yes.
But I know, like, as a child, I never felt intimidated walking in there. I felt so invited. And then they have a wonderful children's section there, too, for children.
Yes. And that was brought up, that he wanted it again to be inviting, Breuer did, and he built it or designed it so that it could accommodate 25 children. And I did a little checking on that, and that is still the case. And I believe some of the chairs that are being used by those children are still those chairs from 50 years ago. It fascinates me that the furniture has lasted.
Because it was made well.
Because it was made well.
It was great.
Yes.
So let's talk about what are you doing to celebrate the 50th year? You've had a lot of activities so far this year. To finish up the year, what do you have planned?
Yes, speaking of the children's room, they had activities here earlier in this year. A couple of them I just want to share with you because I thought they were so much fun. They did a love memory tree on the window on the first floor there, and they filled it with hearts that kids write on the heart their favorite memory of why they love the library so much.
That's nice.
Isn't that sweet? I really like that one. And then this one, I think adults should do this because I'm in a book club at the senior center, and I go to book club activities at the library. But dress as your favorite book character, and the kids did that. And I had to ask the library. I said, well, what did they come as? Because I wasn't able to get over there. Clifford the Red Dog was one of them. Fancy Nancy, who was a new one for me, but she's very popular books with our young readers. And then they did other characters, but there were 18 children who participated in their dress-ups. I love that. And then, of course, one that they did in partnership with the Kelly Miller Community Center, they had a kids program on civil rights. So I thought that was very good, too. And they had 43 who participated in that. So I'm loving this. They had April was karaoke month, and they could dress up as a 70s. It has 70s theme, so they could dress up in 70s clothes.
See, that doesn't seem like a long time ago to me.
Not at all. No.
But then I look at those bell bottoms and disco shirts and stuff.
Right.
That was a long time ago.
And we remember them.
Oh,
don't we?
yeah. Oh, yes.
So those are the children's room activities. Then earlier this month, the young adults, they celebrated the rocketry with a rocketry program. You know, we were going to space during the 70s, and all these themes are around the 70s. That's what all these activities are for. And then they showed a video describing the Voyager program, because remember, that was a big deal back in the 70s.
Yes.
Today we talk about space, like our young people now won't know all about what an adventure it was, but we lived through all of that and the worry and I still remember John Glenn going up into space, being in elementary school and stopped school and everybody went and watched it. It was just amazing. The celebration is December 9, Tuesday, December 9. We're going to start at 5:30. It's not going to be a long program. We want to do have a little bit of a program. We'll have some live music. And because we want people to have time to socialize and talk about the library, share memories type thing.
And when is this again? What day?
Tuesday, December 9.
What time will that start?
At 5:30 p.m.
Okay.
That's 2025. This will be the 50th anniversary, and that is the year the official opening took place with Governor Moore speaking back then. That was also December 9.
You have a lot of after-school programs too, I noticed, and things for adults too. You want to just touch upon some of those, the highlights of some of those? Yes,
the library, it's amazing to me what all they do. And they put out little publications. If anybody just stop by in there, they have a monthly publication. They've got some calendars. I love to pick up the calendar. It's a one-pager, and it's a real calendar where you can look at it and see what's happening on what days. And I'm just always amazed. It's 4 and 5 activities a day.
Yes.
You'll see that they put it out on Facebook, what that daily activity is, and often I will go ahead and share that because I want everybody to know what's going on. A lot of things with children for after school. And then, of course, they have the ones for the younger children who are preschool. Erica Perry is the librarian, and she does a great job with her programming. They just had a Mother's Day tea. They do their annual Mother's Day tea, and boy, that is a wonderful turnout for that. And it's always fun. I enjoy swinging by there to see all the little girls and their mothers dressed so beautifully. It's just a sweet thing. And the Easter egg hunt. Oh my. The Clarksburg League for Service worked so hard on donating eggs, and of course with the price of eggs right now, those were majority were, well, I guess they all were this year, plastic eggs.
Oh yeah, I
figure. Were filled with items, and the league was even able to get donations to have some cash in some of those eggs. So that turnout was very big. And then they have one of our newest things at the library. Request comes in, and see, this is what people got to remember. With both the organizations I'm involved with, the Senior Center and the library, we want to hear from you. What do you think is a good idea? Because then the others must be thinking that. And we always are looking for new things. Well, the new thing at the library now is somebody needed tools for their garden. They wanted to get their garden started.
I love that idea.
Yes, so now we have tools. And then prior to that, and what kind of led into that, is we had a seed, giving away seeds for people to start their gardens. And if you go into the library today, right there near the entrance, you're going to see one of those old card catalog.
With the little drawers, the wooden.
Yes. Well, guess what's in there? Seeds.
Oh, that's nice.
And prior to that, they had used it for tea. They were doing tea during the winter. So I love seeing those things repurposed. They symbolize the library, certainly for my generation, especially being in school, Victory High School, Fairmont State, and how we had to go through those cards to find the books we're
Find the
looking
number
for.
of your book, and then go find them on the shelves. Yeah.
Today I go in and I look it up on the computer and find my book. It's amazing. But it's nice and fun to see those repurposed.
The other thing about the Clarksburg Library too, there's so many helpful people there. If you can't find something, there's always someone there to help you.
Yes. Libraries are like that, aren't they?
Yes.
But this one, it just feels like home when I go in there, and they have great leadership. Shannon Beam is our librarian, Julia Todd, the library manager, and that front desk folks. And by the way, the design of the library, that when you come in, Breuer wanted, and it remains today, and you'll see where the information desk is, what I call it's actually the circulation desk, is there. You come in the door and it's on your left, and you have an open space there on that first floor. And so that, and Merle Moore wanted this too, that you would see that desk when you enter the building, and the circulation desk would see who is entering the building and also who's exiting the building, so that they were right there. So if anybody needed help, they were right there for them.
And there's plenty of parking too. Parking's a problem in Clarksburg, but not at the library.
That is so true. Parking is at the back of the library, and it's amazing. They got plenty of spaces back there.
Yes.
And that was also part of when doing the research of the new structure. That was a separate purchase from the building, but they wanted parking there. The vision of that group back in the 1970s just is amazing, and brings us here to 50 years later, and how accommodating it is.
Yeah, still is.
And that was the other issue. They wanted it to be accommodating. So you had the water fountains are on a level for those maybe in a wheelchair or those with disabilities. So all of those, the elevator has Braille on the buttons. So all of that was thought about. And over the years, in my years working in D.C., I was there 38 years, and I always supported our library there because my love carried over from the Waldomore and growing up here, so that I was one of the originators of the Friends of the Public Libraries. That movement took place in the early 80s, and my little local library, of course, I was on the board there, president, vice president, always in leadership, because I know the importance that I wanted those children to have that access to that children's library, and for the seniors and others, and for college students to do their research, high school students. I just knew what I got out of my library, I always wanted to carry over to then. And so that's why I'm back here on the Friends of the Library, because of that commitment. And we're never too old, never too young, and never too old.
That's right. And the Friends of the Library have the book sales every year. Tell a little bit about that.
Yes, we do.
That's a big event.
That's a big event. And sometimes we even work in a second book sale, depending on schedules. But this year we had a fantastic book sale that lasted, I believe it was 4 days, and we made more money on that than we've made on any others. And what we do with that money, we use that money for library programs to help support the activities in the children's room, to support the activities for the young adult section. Yes, we'll buy treats and that kind of thing for these programs, but that's very important. And I think, we donate to keeping the upkeep of the library as well, if there's a need there. So we use our money for those kinds of things.
And if you love books, you never know what you're going to find at the library book sale.
That's true. And we do have our annual meeting of the Friends is coming up. And of course, anybody can join the Friends. I believe it's a $10 membership, but anybody can join and support us in our activities. But our annual meeting's coming up, and we always have someone from History Alive to come in and interpret a character for us. This year we have someone who is coming to do, she does songs from the 70s that sort of have a West Virginia relationship. Our librarian found her for us. So that's open to the public. So just call the library and tell them you heard Bill talking about this and you want to know when that is.
That sounds like fun.
We'd love to have you come.
There's a lot to do. I'm old or young. I mean, something for everyone to do.
There sure is.
And then too, don't forget, the Waldomore is still open, and I think it's
Yes.
open every day now, right?
It is.
Okay.
Yes,
And you can do family research there or history about Harrison County, Clarksburg, whatever.
Yes, yes, and they do programs. They had a wonderful program this month, earlier this month, because it was the birthday of Gray Barker. Gray Barker was known for he put out a publication called The Saucerian. So an author has written a book about him, and he's titled it The Saucerian. But he was a person who was advocating, and I'm going to say it that way because I'm not convinced he was a believer, but advocating that there could be aliens and those kind of things happening, like Mothman. He was a big one.
Men
on
in Black.
Mothman, Men in Black. Yes. So he was celebrated this month for his 100th birthday.
And you have the Gray Barker collection at the Waldomore, don't
And
you?
we do have the Gray Barker selection. So right now they have a display of Gray Barker over at the Waldomore on that second floor. Please, anybody who's interested, please go check it out, because they work hard to share this kind of information, and go and check it out.
Yeah, keep an open mind about all of that.
Mind. Right.
And something interesting to find out and learn about.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there's a tremendous collection of everything at the Waldomore and events all the time. So look, do they have a website, Bill, or do you hook it onto the libraries?
Go to the libraries.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes. So that's just so much going on, and all those activities are listed there. So if you're ever looking for something to do, check that out. And it's our local history.
How do you see the future of the library going? Where do you see it in the next 50 years? You think it'll still be the way it is now, or?
That's a good question. And
What's your vision, Bill?
What's my vision? I think my vision would be that this building, I think, will carry on.
I do too.
Okay, I think it will carry on for another 50 years. And the city does support. It gets support from our city, county, and the state, financial support. So as long as that continues, it will help keep us going. And there is the levy. Again, we got the levy that supports the library that we as citizens vote on. I believe it's every 5 years or 6 years. So as long as the citizens want it, and I believe they do, and I did ask the question, because I am involved with it. Well, how many how many books are checked out, or what? And right now you don't just check out books. You're checking out movies. That's so popular. I go in there and I'm just always fascinated by that. But it's amazing the number of things that are checked out. So our library is still popular.
And I don't think we didn't touch upon the computers. I mean, if you need to use a computer for some reason, you have a lot of computers there.
Yes, there is a bank of computers. You're correct about that, and that I have used that. Because I'm that kind of person. If I'm going to be on the board of something, I'm going to go be a user.
Yes.
And use it to see, is this really working? And the folks there, because they'll talk, they're researching maybe something medical. Again, it could be communicating with family because they don't have a computer at home. And we know in West Virginia we have some dead spots for computer for the broadband, so that it's very critical to folks who are just trying to communicate with their family elsewhere.
I used it here when one day here our computers were down and I needed to print something off.
Yes.
I went over to the public library and did it over there.
And I'm glad you said that, because yes, you can go there to get things printed off, and the staff, I mean,
very helpful.
Very helpful. It's just amazing. And so that, yes, I did want to share this with you, that in terms of these materials being checked out of the library on a monthly basis, and this is an approximate kind of average kind of thing, 2,400 items. That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's amazing.
And to answer your question, that's what the library means to our people here.
Yes.
that if you have those numbers and you break that down to maybe 600 a week, that's a lot.
That's impressive.
That's impressive. And they do that. They don't have a huge staff, but it's that dedicated staff that
They
are
all
there
work
to
very
help.
hard,
They do.
but they
do.
love it.
And they love it.
That's why they're there, because they love what they do.
Yes, yes. So I think that number tells us a lot right there.
Well, I think that's just great, and everyone go out to our Clarksburg Library if you haven't been or you're new to the area. It's there for you.
Yes,
It's for the
yes.
it's for the public.
And you know what? We will be celebrating 118 years of the library next year. That goes back to where you started
That's amazing.
in this discussion. Those
So we'll have to bring you
ladies-
back to talk about when it's
But I think
120th.
that's amazing, isn't it? On those ladies who thought about. And
Those little ladies back there in 1903
Yes,
had that vision, and they started it and
yes.
carried on. Well, time on the old clock on the wall, I think is what they used to say in radio, is telling me that we're probably going to have to go. But I really appreciate you coming in today, Bill, and talking about the library and its history and its vision for more to come. You know, it's really important. So come back again another time and we'll talk some more. But visit the Clarksburg Library. But also come in if you're down at the library. Walk over another street over, block over, and come to the History Museum on Main Street and visit us. And we're here Tuesday through Saturdays, 10 until 4. And I close each podcast with these little bit of words of wisdom. Make each day count, because you are making history today. Thank
the
you.
silence of your wildwood, to the rhythm played by every mountain stream. It becomes a lullaby every time that I come home to West Virginia in my dreams. West Virginia mountain melodies, there's a new river singing to me. Oh, this time it's wild and free, your West Virginia mountain melodies. I feel secure in the arms of your green valley. There's a peace you've given me that's yours alone. Take me in like a child to the gentle of your wild West Virginia. I'm coming home. Your West Virginia mountain melodies, there's a new river singing to me. Oh, this time it's wild and free, your West Virginia mountain melodies. West Virginia mountain melody, there's a new river singing to me. Oh, this time it's wild and free, your West Virginia mountain